Hello, hello. I am excited about today's Be Inspired program. Hello, Madam Yakubu, great to have you here. Please let me know if you can hear me very clearly. Let me just check my volume. Please let me know if you can hear me very clearly. Just doing some housekeeping while I wait for my guests for today. So, welcome everybody while I wait for my guests. I'm delighted to be here again this week. Oh, I have this my lovely scarf I have tied here. So, let me just adjust that so my face can be visible. So, Mother Yakubu, are you there? Please let me know if you can hear me very clearly. I'm excited to be here again today. So, like I was saying, I'm excited to be here. Another what do you call it? Episode of Be Inspired. That wanted to get loose again. Please pardon me. I'm doing all my dressing. Okay, here I have my guest. Let me just get her to come on board, and then we will start. I think she still has to. Engineer Z, if you can hear me, okay, fantastic. I've seen your request now, so I can. So while she's logging in there, it's a pleasure to be here again on Be Inspired. My name is Ms.B, and now that my guest is here, I can say, wow, here we are. How exciting. Can you hear me and see me clearly?
Yes, I can. I can hear you very well.
Fantastic. So I was just trying to introduce the whole program to the audience, so I will just do that now, really. So, my dear audience, it's exciting to be here again on Be Inspired this week. And for the benefit of those of you that might be listening and come to listen later that you don't know what Be Inspired is, Be Inspired is a platform to inspire, to inform, and to motivate many of the young, I call millennial or centennials, that might have doubts or not be very sure about this career path. So it's to give voice to all the youngest females that might come to this platform to share their career story, besides be a bridge between linking the professionals in the industry so that they can share their perspectives, their potentials of this career path and the prospect. It's always a delight also to have this platform as a way to champion female inclusion also in our sector as well. So every week, it's always fantastic to create more awareness about the career prospects in this sector. So this week, I'm delighted to have not just another female pace setter and professional in the industry, but an engineer extraordinary with us today on this program. So let me introduce the most important person on the program today. So, Engineer Z, even though I know some people might not have seen your name, let me just say Engineer Z for now. So please, can you introduce yourself to my audience briefly, where you're from, your full name, and the educational qualification that has brought you to this job role in Ebony Life?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms.B. Thank you very, very much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dancy Adibowale. I'm a mechanical engineer. I got a degree from the Obafemi Awolowo University.
Wow.
As how they say, the greatest university in Nigeria.
Don't let me you out here. We will fight you.
I can imagine. I'm a building services engineer, but I currently work in the hospitality space, and that's one of the reasons why this is extremely exciting for me. Like, to speak about how I got from engineering and what am I doing in hospitality.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Engineer Zanzi. So, it just sounds exciting for me just to say Engineer Zanzi, because even though I'm from a tech background in terms of study, and I was interacting with, females that were studying this course, but to now have a real life engineer in the sector and talking to her, I'm excited, plus, because everything fits in hospitality. So while I'm on this excitement note, I've got a lot of questions I want you to ask you to share with our audience. Can you give me an idea, or give my audience an idea, what is exciting about working in Ebony Life? One or two things. especially the fact that when people hear facility manager, they expect maybe to see a male, and then suddenly they say this gorgeous lady, and they say she's a facility. So what makes it exciting to be in that position? Please share with us one or two things.
Okay, maybe I should even start from how I transitioned and how I got to Ebony Life Place. So maybe that will help everybody listening.
Okay.
So
Even
I
though
started.
We'll get to some of that as well.
No, I'm not going to. So I moved from engineering to design. I was doing designs and installations of industrial air conditioning systems, and I felt that that was kind of pigeonholed. So I needed to move to, as in, to be able to experience other technical sides. So aside from ACs, I wanted to be able to deal with the generators, with electrical panels, with sewage, with water. So I moved from there and into hospitality, and I was with the George Hotel for about 5 years plus. From the George Hotel, then I moved to Ebony Life Place, and the difference in that was the George Hotel is basically rooms and F&B. But now coming to Ebony Life Place, I'm doing beyond that. So there's the F&B sector, there's the cinemas. It's more of Ebony Life is more of a resort, and there's still the rooms, and so those are the three areas. And then there's the events, which is the regular event spaces and all of that. But for me as an engineer, we don't really see, that's why I'm trying to break it down a little bit for, we don't really see in terms of all these F&B rooms, cinema, entertainment and all of that. We see in terms of the equipment at the background. So let's say maybe I was at the Georgia and we had let me say maybe we're working with maybe 500 kVA generators, and all of that. And then here, maybe we're working with 350 kVA generators, and then here I'm getting to work with maybe a bigger generator, something like that. Maybe I was working with a certain capacity of sewage, and now I'm working with a different capacity of sewage or a different equipment. Exactly. That's another thing that got me on this journey. So I get to experience the difference. So that's really basically the gist of what
we see a female engineer, you see equipment.
I see equipment.
I love that, but that makes it even exciting. Fantastic. So I think somehow you have talked a bit about what the scope of that job is, because I was going to ask you so that my audience doesn't start, wondering and thinking the worst, that what exactly is she doing there. But is there anything to add to it, the scope of your work? Yes.
Okay, the scope of my work is that everything that has to do with the function, the safety, and the comfort of the building space. Everything that has to do with the operation, like how it functions, how comfortable it is. Comfort will definitely be the ACs, will be your lighting, will be safety will definitely be my fire servicing equipment, my sprinklers, my fire alarm system, all of that. Function will definitely be power, security, cleanliness, clean. So also the cleaning services fall under my purview. So that's why that will be what I would say will be the major difference between a resort like this and a hotel. So on a hotel, you would have your executive housekeeper and cleaning and all of that fall under. But but public services, let me just put it that way, public services, cleaners, gardeners, all of that fall under my my purview. So in facility management, we call it the soft part and the hard part. So the hard part are the equipment, and then the soft part is the gardening, the cleaning, the aesthetics, the painting, all of that. That's really where.
Fantastic. Now, Engineer Z, I want you to give us an idea. What is a typical day in Ebony life? I'm sure it's not about seeing celebrities around.
I think you and I had a bit of chat about this thing, and I said it's almost always at the end of the day that I can reflect and say, oh, So a typical day for me involves a lot of work around, involves planning, a lot of planning, involves a lot of dealing with vendors, dealing with not contractors. Now, when we have mini projects, because that's one of the things that also fall under my purview, we have little projects, maybe they need the conversion or addition that's going to go over. I'm supposed to be on top of that. So when we have mini projects, so the first part about it is I do my daily walk around, my daily checks, my team. I do my briefing with my team, my meeting with my team. We identify the things that we had planned for that day and the things that need to be planned for. Then we disperse tasks. Normally they would also do their walk around at the beginning of the day. So when they are coming for the briefing, they are coming with things that they've identified that we need to resolve. I have meetings with all the other departments as regards their needs. What do they need? And then we move from there. It's pretty much it's very dynamic. That's one thing I can say. It's very dynamic. One day is hardly the same as the next day. When we have events, when there's something going on in the property, there's a lot more moving
excitement.
Well, excitement. There's a lot of moving parts that need to be taken care of. Kitchen, laundry, they are always on, So it's very dynamic. Yes, that's how I would describe my typical day. Yeah.
It sounds really dynamic and interesting, actually. Now, with what you have said now, even though I was going to say that the typical day, is it chaotic? Is it amazing? Is it beyond what you studied in the engineering classroom with another ball game completely? Really, what will you say?
I always, because I work with teams, I always say that my greatest, how do I put this, my greatest skill is working with high performance teams. So teams that work under pressure, teams that work under tight deadlines, teams that are self-motivated, teams that are self-generated. So they motivate themselves. So I always try to say, I don't even know how to talk about myself in terms of without talking about my team. Right. So in a typical day, I tell my team that we're problem solvers.
I was going to come to that too.
Yeah, we work like, I tell them, I'm always telling them we work like the army, like I want them to think like that. They should be on their feet and that. So whenever a problem comes, yes, to be sincere, sometimes it gets, you get requests from different departments. Cinemas bring their requests, F&B bring their requests, laundry bring their requests, hotel brings their requests, and all of that. It can get a little bit, a lot, Yes, but I think I've been fortunate. I've worked with a lot of general managers, and I remember there was one of my general managers that kind of used to encourage. I don't know how, because I know you have a lot of hospitality interns and mentees listening to it. So please don't take my word as sacrosanct.
We'll try not to. We'll try not to.
Yes, please. So you asked us to look for a quiet space. It could even be. Then he even used to say you can go to a room that is vacant and stay there and just try to, and just try to gather your thoughts. Identify all the things that you need to take care of. I have a priority check that I can do. I can know, okay, this one is very critical. I need to take care of that. This is like maybe 10 on my scale that needs to be sorted out. I think that usually helps when I am able to look at it like that. Like when you're looking at it in a V shape, it looks a lot, but when you're looking at it in a list, you're like, okay, yes, you can do this, do this, do
one
this,
after
do this.
The other.
Yes, and when you have downtimes, I always encourage, try to build your team. So that way, when you have a lot coming at you, you can shed off some. When you have downtime, that's not the time. I do a lot of trainings. And when you're working with technical staff, they are always very resistant to training. I don't know why. But when I've explained to them that that's the way that we can see the same thing. We can, when we do trainings on, in fact, we do trainings on communication, trainings on emergency preparedness, trainings on, so that when it's not when the emergency happens, that's when I'm
now start running, fire brigade approach. So prevention before that time. I like that. Really. I think you've touched on some things I was still going to ask, even though I would ask that later. But let me start with something you had mentioned. I was going to talk about the point of high performance team. And something interesting we had talked about before this live event, that you said the building is alive. Can you share with my audience, what do you mean that the building is alive? I like that so much.
The building is always alive. I think that's one of the misconceptions that we get, especially if because you also have facility management in office spaces, in hospitals. You can have facility management, any building space that you need to, you have facility management. But absolutely, when you come to hospitality, that is one place where you need to always think 24/7. The building is always alive. There's always someone to be catered for in the property. Fantastic. So it's one of the things that makes it the most different from other buildings. So an office space, I have the liberty, or should I say I have the leisure to say, okay, I'll do this work at night because everybody's closed and gone home. But I don't necessarily have that liberty when I'm in hospitality, because the building is always awake. It's something that there's guests in the room, you know, so I need to find a way to schedule my task that doesn't interfere with
all that's going on, all the operation and processes going on. I love that. So, my dear audience, I'm sure you agree with engineers that the building is alive, and that's just the excitement about hospitality. We are alive. Hospitality and tourism is live.
It's a culture, or should I call it a culture shock, or it's like the first thing you get when you're like, you people don't close.
That's it. We are not. We are 24/7 active. Really,
24/7 active. Like it's a shock, especially when you're coming from maybe design or engineering. You close like by 6 p.m.
and you're done.
And then tomorrow you come and start all over again. But no, it's always 24/7. The generators are on, the sewage is working, the water is being used, all of that. The cold room has to be operational, the equipment, everything.
That's true. That's true.
It's like that kitchen team will tell you they want to do meal prep. I'm like,
you see. So somehow we make you, we get you on your toes all the time, the time. Wow, fantastic. Well done. So now, still coming to other things, Engineer Zim. I know that somehow you said you are a building service certified trainer, of course, a mechanical engineer. But can you share with us how is personal development, or how does personal development relate to your cocktail role that you are now doing? How has that helped you to work in the role you are? That's personal development. Share with us.
Okay, if you look at the trajectory of my journey, you will see that it's not something that I learned in school. It's not something that, like, maybe somebody sat me down in school and said, this is the way. So how did I get here? How did I become facilities engineer, facilities manager, or building services engineer? It's not something that, what differentiates us as humans from every other animal on the planet is the fact that we can actually think of the future and say, okay, identify that I want to improve on this place, or I want to change this thing, and work on it. That's actually what differentiates us, really. Absolutely. So it's my whole journey has been about personal development. I remember when I joined the first hotel, I knew about the engineering part, but I was clueless about the hospitality part. I was like, and then even the what I knew about the engineering part was still even limited. I didn't study electrical. And now I'm actually handling electrical. So I identified that, and I would like to mention again, and that's one of the reasons why it's very important who you choose as your mentor, or who you are fortunate to have as a mentor. So my general manager, one of my general managers then, was coming into the country, and he sent every single manager a form and asked us to fill what areas we saw in ourselves that we were lacking. Like, you were the one, he's not assessing you. So he was giving you, a free
chance to check yourself, self-knowledge.
Check yourself. What areas do you think that you are lacking? And then now, write what you think you can do to improve and get better. And then start, and then, where can he come in, or what we do need to do. So I think at that time, I identified certain things. I identified the software part. I remember I identified the opera. I'm very good at opera now. I don't know how.
Wow. I'm going to take notes. I have plans.
So I identified opera. I identified softwares that are pertinent to me. I think Upkeep, that's what I use for my facility management. I identified electrical, that I wasn't very strong on electrical. I identified certain things, you know, and then I put together the plans that I was going to use. And some of them were not even things that I had to go very far. I remember then the IT team came and installed Opera on my computer and installed the training module and all of that. I attended trainings on it, and then I started working on it by myself. I remember I registered for a training with a company, Inspire. Yes, I think that's the name of Inspire. You know, but you know the funny thing about personal development, you have to push yourself. You have to motivate yourself, because nobody is actually chasing you. After the first degree where your parents or your guardians have sponsored, or you sponsored yourself for something, the second part, the personal development part, you have to push yourself. You have to do it yourself.
I agree with you. I think you have
really
nailed it. Yeah, I think you have nailed it. It's about pushing yourself, seeing what you need to develop, and building that skill to be more visible and relevant. I love that. I know you've talked a bit about, you know, the importance problem solving, but I wonder if you should just, you know, chip in a bit more about that how important is problem solving in relation to the job role that you play? That's that skill, that problem solving skill.
I think one of the greatest parts of our problem solving course is actually identifying the problem. It's not every time when you get a report or from a unit that this is what that's what they see as a problem. But being an engineer, I need to go deeper and ask really and look for what is really the problem. What they report sometimes is just what the person saw. It's just like somebody coming to report to you that the temperature setting is this, but the person is not really saying that maybe that space is actually not designed for what the person needed it. So that's the first step for me with problem solving, is actually identifying the problem. And I think that's really one of the exhausting part, and also identifying potential problems. So that's really what my walk around is for. When I walk around, I'm not walking around to say you didn't do this or you didn't do that. I'm walking around to identify. And remember, I talked about that I'm in charge of the safety, I'm in charge of the comfort of the guest, I'm in charge of the functionality of the space and the efficiency, how it's performing. You know, so I'm walking around thinking about safety. If I'm looking at, what are the things I'm looking at? The comfort. Okay, what can we do to improve this place? What can we do to change this space? You know, I'm looking at the function. Is it working the way it's supposed to work? So that's what my work. I'm trying to be as practical as possible for, so that's what my walk around is. In fact, if you see me,
like a holistic, view of the whole thing.
I start from identifying the problem. Then I now start to think about possible solutions. You know, most times I would definitely have 3 options on my plate, 3 options to pick from before I now go with the particular, except where it's an emergency situation and I just have to pick the first one. But when it is like I have the time, I go have 3 options: option A, option B, option C, and then pick the best possible solution and execute. Execution is key. Execute. Don't I try not to wait till tomorrow, and then try to execute. If today is the best day to do what you have to do, tomorrow will bring
it might be too late. It might be too late.
So tomorrow will bring its own set of
I like that. Absolutely.
Just keep solving as much as you can.
Very correct. Yes, you are very correct. I like that. Thank you so much, Nazi, for that. Now I want to go into a bit more details about what you do as well, for us to share, for people to better understand why are we even talking about facility management and what's the importance. So I want you to, because you have said the building is alive, can you now give us an idea? What's the importance of care for details or attention to details when it comes to facility management? How crucial or important is that?
I think one of the things, and I'm not trying to be gender specific, and I don't know why, it's something that I've always observed between myself and my male counterparts, especially in this space.
Right.
This is not like, a lot of engineering is concentrated around the function. Yes, I can connect two wires and power will flow through, but how is it connected? Is, I want it to be extremely neatly done, tidy, and crisp. So that's one thing I've actually, and I'm really, really waiting to meet. So I don't even know. Let me say it's me personally, but I noticed that thing that.
It's a feminine trait because we are very observant and we are very detailed. Yes.
And I keep getting that from my line managers about how extremely, in fact, literally, it is. If a line manager or my general manager wants to query something that has been done, he will say, this thing, if it's not being done properly, he will say, this thing, Zancy did not okay it. Like he knows that,
the standard of what you will do.
Like, okay, yes, the thing is working. It's working the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
Fine. But there's still a bit of extra. There's still a little bit more that needs to be done. And that's where I need to come in with that, should I call it the third eye or the inner eye?
You could.
So that's what the attention to detail is for me in terms of the inner eye. And that's why I really emphasize in your job function, I don't know what job, even if you're a waiter, even if you are in F&B, even if you are in housekeeping, your walk around is going to be what is going to make a difference. Like first thing, your walk around is what's going to differentiate you from just anybody, because at that point in time you're identifying things, you're seeing things, you're picking up on the tiny details, so that's really where it works for me. I have my I have my software on my device and I can easily clock it in whatever I identify and notice. And at the end of the day, I can actually run through it and say, okay, we've been able to target, take care of this, that. And I think one of the things is like, is always our aim to seek to improve and do no harm. So that's just really where I lay it.
Seek to improve and do no harm. I love it. Because harm can come from doing as well, and then you create more problems, isn't it? I love that. Now, because this platform also is about helping young females also to understand possibilities in this career path. So I want to ask you to share with us, Engineer Z, can any female hospitality graduate fit into your shoes? Why or why not? Please share with us.
Oh my goodness. I think you asked me this question and it was a tough one. I think that it depends on the path. There'll be two, and I told you that there'll be the technical part where the person might have to pick up on after, and I really would love to see more females. I would really love to see more females.
Are you hearing? The future is female.
And then there will be the hello green room, NG, I can see you. And there will be the supervisory part, the managerial part. So there's the facilities and there's the manager. There's the technical and then there's so the technical part, yes, I do understand there may be some limitations, in this, but the managerial part is a skill. It's a skill that can be learned by anybody. And then, so I told you, I said, I may not take an intern or a hospitality, professional as a technician. Obviously, I've told you, I'm not trying to do any harm. I'm trying to solve problems, not make more problems, But I will take the person as a supervisory role. I would take the person as a supervisor, but I will not take the person as a technician. So definitely, it's not the same thing. So over time, obviously, I will ask the person, hi. Over time, I will actually expect the person to start to pick up certain things. And that's where the role of personal development comes in. Maybe attend technical trainings, just to get the knowledge and everything. Because at the end of the day, you have to have the skills. So you can't be when your technicals are talking or your vendors are talking, you can't be saying rubbish. So I was trying to be extremely practical.
I call it that know something about everything and everything about something. If not, you're going to be in the moon. So I agree with you. So definitely you are telling us that fine, you might be able to step into that role, but definitely you have to be ready to get to know what it is about the technical side, develop yourself, and the knowledge. So fantastic. So that inspires us. We're not going to be afraid to step into the shoes
At
then.
all.
Fantastic.
Please.
Fantastic. So ladies, you can hear. Now, I know that the engineer Z, you're talking about in a relaxed way. Anybody sees yourself, this gorgeous lady as an engineer, everything looks as if it's fine. Can you share with us, you know, the reality, you know, what are the possible kind of challenges that perhaps another female in your shoes might, you know, expect to face? Let's face the reality of life. It's not all bed or rooms.
There's something I call naughty issues.
Oh, I like that.
Naughty issues. Any issue that I have that is reoccurring, and like maybe I solve and it reoccurs and I solve and all of that. Right. I call it a naughty issue. So it's really naughty. But the naughty is not actually the NAUGHTY. It's actually KNO. That's like in a knot. You know, I have to, and then I kind of like focus on that issue for like a day or like some.
Because you are trying to untie it.
This thing, we must get to the end of it. I call my team. We get in. We're like, we must find the end of this thing. The solution. But in terms of and yes, I get it that even when I was coming, I was like, hey, I hope people will not be vibing and thinking this answer is just like, you know. But I say something.
Yeah.
As the manager, I have to bring my energy every day. No fail. I have to bring it.
Right.
I have to bring my energy. So I have learned, and this is even like when I joined, moved into hospitality, I took courses upon courses upon courses, online courses, physical courses. I was hungry for knowledge, and one of the things I was hungry for was how to manage my time, my life. You know, how to, you know,
have that work-life balance.
Yeah, so I took a course then, and I think that thing has really helped me. I identified my perfect working conditions. I identified, you know, and for up to the point I know whether I like, and this is going to come as a shocker for some people, I know whether I like working in a cold space or in a warm space.
Right.
I know whether I like working in a group, as in, you know, with a team, or I like working alone. I know whether I like working with a lot of interruptions. Some people don't mind, like playing music. Some people like playing music when they're working. I know I took my time to identify all these things. And I know that if you are a flawed staff, you may not, you know, have the liberty of all these things, you know, but if you're a manager, obviously you can pick and all of that. So among some of the things that I read somewhere that sitting in your car is a form of self-care. I do it. I literally do it. I'm talking about you. I've been hit by Lagos traffic. I'm supposed to bring my energy to my team. It's not their fault that I was in Lagos traffic, you know. So I sit in my car, calm myself down. I can listen to some music and all of that. I go through my to-do list. That was another thing I learned how to do. I go through my to-do list, what I have to do today. We have as facility managers, we have a lot of checklists, a lot of routines and all of that. So that makes it easy for you to fall back on. You can't be operating on only your willpower, on how you feel. If you feel like working today or you don't, no, you have to fall back on these things.
The building will just collapse.
In fact, you can't do that. That maybe, okay, today, you know, somebody scratched or broke my side mirror or something, then I'll come to work and I'm like, you know, everything has to stop. No, you have, so that's the best way. When you first join in, you know, okay, that's fine. All right, bye. So when you first join in, you take your time out to build up, or when you just build up, or as you're going through your journey and career, keep building up things, and so you have things to fall back on. You have good skills, good habits to fall back on. I think that's really one of the things that has helped me. Fantastic. You know, so I have good habits that I've built over the time. So, you know, so yes, it's going to be rough. I'm not going to get
fantastic. So there are challenges. It's not smooth, but you have found a way how you manage it so that it doesn't really get overpowering. Fantastic. I love that. And let me quickly come to, you know, we are still during the post-COVID. Did COVID in any way affect your role as an engineer? Please share with us as well.
COVID affected everybody. COVID, everybody. Oh, okay. I'm having a.
No problem. We know that the building is alive even while you're alive here
Okay,
with
so
us.
COVID, yes, COVID really did. COVID did affect everyone, every single
Okay,
industry, and
that's
hospitality
true.
was one of the. I think your industry, hospitality, aviation, and tourism, was one of
The
the industries
worst.
that were
Yeah,
worst hit
yeah,
by COVID.
yeah.
And I think we one of the things that happened was we had to start creating preparedness plans. We had to start creating contingency plans. What we do, different case scenarios, and what will we do in this scenario, what will we do in that scenario, and what
Right,
the worst case scenario, the best case scenario.
right.
um Also, one of the things we did was to ease into the reopening. So that meant, like, maybe we opened in bits. We didn't open the whole property at once. So we
Okay,
started with the hotel, then we
okay.
moved to a restaurant, then another restaurant, then, opening in
Right.
bits.
So
And this was one of
gradually,
our, yes,
yeah,
this was one of
yeah.
our contingency plans.
Fantastic.
COVID came for everybody. But then one thing someone spoke with me about COVID, and I think that
Okay,
was probably one of my takeaway points about this, is that she said COVID fast tracks the future. The future of,
absolutely.
yeah, COVID fast tracks the future. So
Yeah, yeah,
COVID kind of asked us to start thinking differently about certain things that we're doing.
absolutely. Yeah,
COVID, yeah, COVID said, so COVID literally forced us to start to think differently. So
yeah.
COVID literally, so if anybody is still thinking that there's going to be a post-COVID era, or no,
We're in the
it's not going
normal
to.
COVID era now.
This is the era that we are in. So it is literally in COVID era. So
Yeah,
cancel that
yeah.
post and put in. So living in COVID, like, it may
Yeah.
not be COVID, it may be something else.
Oh,
But it
that's
just
true.
meant that we had to start thinking differently. I know
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
it's, especially for people working in offices, we had the work from home policies that came up, and then started looking at, oh, a shift in the offices space. Do you need
Yeah.
to go to the office every single day? Do we
Yeah.
need this size of office? For us, we aside from the hotel and the we're in entertainment, and it's making us, we're still pivoting,
Okay.
looking at different aspects and saying, so we have the cinemas, and if you're in entertainment space, you would know that the cinemas are not, we don't have products. The product of the cinemas are movies. Movies are not coming out because people are
Yeah.
not shooting movies. They're not releasing
Yeah.
movies. But guess what
Yeah.
happened? Nigerian movies came to the forefront.
Exactly. That's true.
So those
Yeah.
kind of things. So we keep pivoting. So we're working on Nigerian movies. We're working on VIP bookings. We're working on, so we're
Fantastic.
doing it differently. So that's really
Fantastic.
what we do. We, we,
Wow.
we
Fantastic.
I think one of the things from my side was we started scheduling our energy consumption. So I'm just and that's one thing. Please, everybody that's watching, I went too hard, so I will switch from hospitality to engineering. So, and
Right.
vice versa. So
Still
so
saying
we
well. I'm being
yeah,
inspired.
so for our side, we started looking at our consumption in terms of energy, in terms of our resources. How are we consuming resources? So I think one of the things we did was to schedule the building power up and power down for certain
Fantastic.
times and all of that. Yeah, so we're just being a lot
Absolutely.
smarter as regards what we're
Fantastic.
doing.
So it's
Yes.
making you think out of the box, being
Yeah.
creative, innovative, transforming things from what they are before. Fantastic. Now,
Hello, Tourism Africana. Hello,
oh, well,
Sherry. Good. Hi.
yes,
We can see
we
you.
have to say hello to all those that have joined us in the conversation. Thank you so much. We have been so engrossed in this conversation. Thank you for being here. Now, Engineer Z, I want to ask as well, because still I keep talking about the fact that all due respect to all the male and all that, are joining us here and will listen, because I'm sure you have sisters, wives, everybody also, is linked to our industry. We have just celebrated the International Women's Day, and we had that hashtag that says choose to challenge. For you
Yeah.
being in this space and as an engineer also, that is not the typical, career path that everybody will find a female,
Yeah.
what would you say we should be choosing to challenge, especially the females that are in the hospitality, aviation, and tourism space? Share with us the
We,
perspective.
we have a lot of, I think, I don't know if we have as many men empowerment programs or days or celebrations as much as we have for women.
Right.
But one of the things I think I always try to encourage, because I also have people that I mentor, coach, or guide, or at one level or the other, and I'm always
Okay.
trying to encourage women to kind of own your truth. And I know this even me, as in it took me a while before, and I think this is literally the first live or listen that I'm doing that I'm literally speaking up about my engineering background and all of that.
Future
It's
female.
usually something that I keep, to one aspect of my life. I try not to bring it to
Fantastic.
another aspect. It's also probably one of the reasons why I told you I don't even know about the celebrities because I'm so busy. But I've
Right.
started owning my truth and trying to make it a little different.
Right.
Sometimes I step out, interact with some of the guests in the building. How are you enjoying the facility? What did
Right.
you like? What do
Right.
you feel? I know of that. And I'm
Yeah.
getting direct feedback. So for me,
Fantastic.
choosing to challenge means owning your truth. Just
I
being
love that.
true to who you are.
I love
It's so
that.
funny because I think that we're actually living in the best of times because these are the times where it's not, I don't think it's before. I'm sure like 3 generations ago, it would have been
Okay.
so strange to see a female engineer.
Of course.
But now you can actually find a female engineer that is probably a photographer, and
Yeah.
like they are hybrids.
Yeah.
Careers now are hybrids.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there are so many hybrids, and if you don't own your truth, if you want to pigeonhole and say, okay, yes, I am, you see chefs that are doctors that are now
Yeah.
that are chefs
Yes.
and
Yeah.
love photography. There are so many hybrids
Absolutely.
now. Like
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
own your
Yeah.
truth, find your truth, own your truth. That's
I
the
love it.
best way to choose to challenge, so that people can see that it's a rainbow. There's a married of colors out there where there's so many beauties that you can pick.
You
So
are
many
sounding like my
so many
cocktail
paths.
rainbow. I like that.
There's so many
Fantastic.
pathways you can pick. I know when I think about, I know, the vibes here is awesome. Thank you.
Wow.
When
Sorry,
I
I'm
think
not
about
seeing it for my part. Sorry.
I know
Wow. Thank you so
engineers
much.
that are photographers. I know chefs that are videographers. Like people are. There's no pigeonhole anymore. Like
Yeah.
so, it's better that you identify what your truth is and own it. Like yes, I'm an engineer. I'm female. Yes, that's what I am. I have kids. I'm married. It's because I'm in jeans. It's because you're just saying, part of me. I'm in
Just the
jeans
face.
and yes,
Exactly.
I'm in jeans and trainers and I wear
You are
makeup and I
moving
love
and doing what
girls.
you have to do.
And I'm doing
Fantastic.
my job, and just do
Fantastic.
it
Fantastic.
excellently well, own your
Fantastic.
truth
I love
and
it.
just be extremely excellent at it. I think,
Fantastic.
people start to get it, people start to understand. My general manager just walked in now, saw me on the meeting and he walked back, like, yeah, he knows, like, yes, I'm on a meeting, like, so let's
Yeah.
just be true to it. Where
The
the
future is disruptive females. I love it.
yes,
I love it.
yes.
I love it. Fantastic. So, my dear females, own your truth, be who you are
Yes.
supposed to be and the best version so that you are visible and you're known to know what you know, really. Definitely. So, I love that. Now, I'm getting excited. There's still more I want to ask you as we wind down and wrap up. So, and I want to ask you, I love quotes, and there's one that I always love to ask my guests each week, their own thoughts. And it
Oh
comes
my
from
God.
Oprah. No, fear not. Oprah talks about the fact that, I come as one, but I stand at 10,000. So I want to ask you, who are those that make up your own 10,000 to make you who we are appreciating on this live program today? Please share with us.
Okay, I love quotes as well. So when you asked me,
Fantastic.
I was praying you weren't going to ask me for my favorite quote because I'll just be like, oh my God, how do
There
I
are no favorites. I'm sure you have lots, just like I have.
So I would say, for me, there's there are a lot of people, like you said, 10,000.
Right.
What I'll just mention about certain things, like, as I said, I want to be very, very practical and very
Right.
real.
Yeah.
I'll probably want to mention my mom. first.
Oh, the mothers are always winning on this program. The
Well,
mothers.
Hold on. And not because she's my mom. You know,
Okay.
I want to appreciate. I want to speak about her from another perspective. Great. I'm not speaking about her because she's my mom. Because yes, usually mom, people are always like, my mom, what she gave up for me, what she did, you know. But I'm speaking about my mom was the first female engineer that I knew. My mom is an engineer as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So and she was she was on the field, jeans wearing. She studied agricultural engineering. Great. And so she was in the field. She was not just
a typical tomboy, what they call a tomboy.
She was in the field. She was, and this was another generation. This was not something that we was, so, so, and then I saw it that, she got a master's. She was really, really, so that's one of the things that's one of her, and she was a parent, or she is a parent rather. My mom's still alive, so she was an engineer. She's a parent, and she was raising 2 girls. She was still able to start up companies, she was one of the founding members of the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria. I was going to talk about them. Those are the second people that I want to talk about. But, she was just really out there. As in, she was just really, doing her
very
best.
Very exemplary person.
Yeah. And then I think one of the things she identified for us, she wanted my sister and I to be avid readers. Honestly, at times I even say that if I decided today that I'm going to be a medical doctor, so long the knowledge is inside a book, or is something that
you can decode it and drink it in.
I'm not even bothered. So she kind of took her time and she decided that, this was something she wanted us to, this was a skill set she wanted us to have. She surrounded us with lots of books, just poured herself into us and then just made us. So, and I started lots of women. My grandmom, extremely hardworking, but also, I mentioned the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria. I joined them when I was in uni. I'm the strategic brand director for them. They have been the foremost group of women engineers in Nigeria. They're pushing the agenda. They are doing great and awesome things, and I'm always proud to be a member. Women engineers. We're not unicorns that are, scarce and all of that. We're there. We're doing a lot of things. And when you're in a space where you see people like you, you're kind of like
you're motivated and inspired to do more.
You get it, and I see a lot of great women. Like that's why I said, oh my God, you asked me one of the most difficult questions because women are doing a lot of amazing things.
Now why we say the future is female too. There is no competition. It's a complementary existence. We have our contribution to make.
My sisters, I don't have a glass of champagne here, so so I see them. Once I see another female doing something great, I am extremely supportive. I'm your number one cheerleader, so trust me about that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We are so encouraged with that. So wrapping up, even though I would love us to be here, longer than this. Let me ask also now, what would you want those studying hospitality, especially females, what would you want them to take away from this conversation in terms of being inspired to perhaps...
It is a lot of hard work.
I love that.
Oh, sorry. If anybody told you that it is hard work, be prepared to work hard.
Fantastic.
Be prepared to work smart.
It's like some people will say it's not beans.
No, it's not. Be prepared to work hard. Be prepared to work smart, because over time, you need to learn how to manage yourself, your life, so that it doesn't affect your life. Where the times are changing. You can't, it's before when, you'll be complaining that because I think I remember I was listening to someone and he said, the days of when we thought like women being at home, it's gone. I'm not saying we don't have some stay at home women, and I really give them the credit. They're doing amazing. You know, I support them. I think they're doing great. They should even be paid, actually. I'm just saying that to people that
definitely I agree with you.
they literally should be paid. So but it's hard work. But another thing, it's rewarding. Especially if you have a heart for people, if you have, you know, I think that's one of the things that people that I work with have identified, that I can literally wear the cap of, you know, like, yes, I'm in engineering and I can come to you and say, hey, you know what, this thing is going to take me 10 days to repair or to get right, you know, but the other setting, I'm like, okay, you know, I see your pain. Let me see how I can sort you out. So that's one of the reasons why I said I always have options. I never come to you with just bam, you know, no, I always have, okay, this is option A, option B, which one can we do that will make your life easier? So it's hard work, but it's rewarding. You know, I think most of the people that come into hospitality, I see them, they have the passion. You know, so if you have the passion for this, please, we can't wait. Please come.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I love that. I don't know what has happened to my data, but it's giving me some beep, but I hope we can wrap up before anything drastic happens, really. So
I know you're worried about that.
Yes, I just saw a message pop up, so I was wondering, but anyway, no problem. So I wanted to ask you as well, you know, as we wrap up, where should we expect to see you maybe in the next X years?
It's not supposed to be a secret. Like, if I tell you now, it will not be.
Well, maybe a part of it in terms of maybe what that job might entail. We don't know where, but maybe what will that entail, so that you can inspire some of the, you know, females in the house still.
Okay, in terms of progression, so for my job role, if you just join in, I can see Adebola, I can see Tourism Africana. So if you're just joining now, in terms of my job role, it's always about what equipment I'm exposed to. So the more equipment that I'm exposed to, the more you know, knowledge I gain, the better I become. So, you know, so what you know, so for me, I think in terms of 5-10 years, probably be a consultant. So that way, so that way I'm not so, and I'm saying this for people listening so that you can understand the progression for my career. So, you know, you start, you know, and then when you're a consultant, that means that you work with a range of equipment. So that way you can actually give your knowledge back to more people. Other than being, you know, other than working for one facility. So you're able to give your knowledge back to more, you know, more people. So that's really where consulting comes in for me. Yeah.
Fantastic. My dear audience and engineers, I don't want to spoil this wrap up. So just give me 1 minute pause and let me just sort out this connection, because it's getting a little bit of a concern. Just give me a 1 minute pause. I will just come back to you now.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, so sorry for that break in transmission. So like you were saying, you will definitely, you know, want them to take note of all those things that you have mentioned. There's one more last question I wanted to ask you, that, you know, in what way has the job you do influenced or impacted on you, who you are today? In what way? Please share with us.
I think one of the I think two things. I would say confidence. I think and I'm not sounding cocky. I'm just trying to explain that because of what I've done, because of what I do, and I need to resolve a lot of things, and a lot of moving parts, and need to figure out and be able to decode things. So you get a little bit more confident as each day passes by. So you're like, oh, I've seen this problem before. This was how I tackled it. So when it comes again, yes, exactly, I can approach it this way. I almost always have like a backup plan for things. So that's one thing. In terms of relating with people, I was never good with that, and I still don't even think I still don't think
I disagree.
I'm an engineer. I'm from design. I would just put my earphones in my ears and do my work, and all of that. So that was another thing that I had to break down and learn how to work with people, learn how to relate with people. I can switch from the streets to the boardroom. I can switch like that, depending on who I'm relating to. If I'm relating to, I can take it to the streets. I can go very rough and and everything. I can be very polished and everything. And I think the third thing will also be, because I'm married, I have 2 children, I have a family, I have a home. I would also say my time management skills are something I keep improving on, and it has improved. So that means I have to be able to find a balance. I have to be able to have plans for the home. I have to so those are the 3 things I would say that
I love that. I think those are definitely key. And now that you've mentioned that you're married, which I forgot, I wanted you to share with my audience, because you have a mix of females that are in this space that newly married or thinking of married. One of the guests I had was saying, please do whatever you can do before you marry. What's your own perspective in terms of, working in hospitality and being married? I love the reaction.
Well, but she's being honest, and that was why I was very honest about it being hard work. Taylor's Heart joined. Hi.
Yes. Hello. Taylor's Heart. Thank you for coming. Yes.
So, I think I was very firm and was like, it's hard work, so I guess that's what she means by do whatever you want to do before, it's a lot of work, but I would say you have to have someone that is supportive. You have to have a great support system.
Like that.
I didn't say good though. I say a great support system. You have to be committed to developing a support system that works for you.
Fantastic.
Yes, fantastic. You have to work at it. In fact, even if it means that after you have finished closing, you sit down and start bringing it out and sorting yourself out. So let me be practical about certain things. So first of all, my husband is first contact for my kids, school and all of that. So he really pulls that to the ground. I have a help, and so I have a help that's been with me for about 8 years, 7 years.
She must know all your idiosyncrasies and everything now.
Like I think I got a call from my sister this morning that she was about to complain about. She was like, "Oh, I don't know how to tell you what happened to me today." And the first thing I said to her was that your house help has left, Abby. I said,
oh my God.
She was like, how did you know? How did you know? I was like, so that's how it works, so I have that. I have my mom, and that means that you have to be a good person so that people can be good to you. That's really it. So,
absolutely.
I have friends that show up for me if I need and I just try to plan. Yes, great. I try to plan and just, so you have to build your support system. It's not negotiable. And I think it actually works for, as in almost all industries. I don't think it's only specific to hospitality. No.
It's just that ours is 24/7 sometimes, and some people can close, like you said.
So you have to find a way. You have to find a way to build your support system. That's just
I love it.
It will be tricky, but it's possible. You know, if you can call Ms.B or call me, and I will figure out, like you know, so you have to. I remember when my kids were younger, we tried different methods of getting a help just to find the one that fits and works for us. So we don't do the traditional. We have our own method, which I'm not going to talk about. We tried different methods, found what works for us. I told you my husband is extremely supportive. You have to have, you know, my mom shows up for us. My sister is, she's my, you know, so you just have to show up. As in, you have to show up for people so they can show up for you. And even at work, honestly speaking, like I've mentioned my team before, I want to believe that I've poured into my team so much to the point that if I need to take time off,
support, they are there for you.
They are there for me. If I have a problem at home, I believe that, you know, they can, like, maybe I have a plumbing or an electrical problem or something, they will show up for me, sort it out,
Fantastic.
you know.
Fantastic.
So
wow, I love that. So it's about support, you know, getting it, you know, so that it fits.
All by yourself.
No, absolutely. I think you have just nailed it. Yes, I think you have just, you know, given us very convincing answers there that we cannot. There is non-negotiable. Support is needed. Imagine the kind of job you have, and then you're going to leave the kids, you know, hanging around somewhere. It's not possible. There will be a lot of headaches. So thank you so much for that. So, Engineer Z, I just want to ask, what else do you want to tell us before we wrap up, you know, for the evening? It's been a wonderful conversation with you. What would you leave us with? Yes.
Well, it would not be any particular thing. I think it would be, first of all, to thank everybody that joined in. I hope you've been able to, you know, because I literally was like, you know, I really want to be as real and as, you know, practical as possible. I really hope you've been able to take away some points. I really want to thank you for the opportunity. I really do. I really appreciate it. You know,
thank you so much.
I can't believe it started from an email that you just sent at random. You weren't even sure if I was going to respond. And now we're here doing this. I think another thing, like, just, you know, just be true to yourself and remember to have fun. Oh, I didn't mention that part. I have a lot of fun at work. Well, I mentioned the hard work side, but I have a lot of fun. Oh, I do. I really do. I have a lot of fun at work. I bring my energy, but I also, you know, I enjoy the job. I do. So that's really it. I enjoy myself, you know. So please do. I hope that helps yourself too.
Yes, I'm sure it does.
And thank you so much, everyone.
No, thank you. So, my dear audience, it's another edition of Be Inspired. I want to say a big thank you to all of you that have stayed up to this point with us. We would not have been able to, you know, have a wonderful time without you. We just have been me, an engineer, Zazie, talking to each other. So thank you so much for being. If we haven't mentioned your name and you have joined us in between, feel free to watch the replay in a few minutes after we are done. It will be uploaded there. And like I said, I love quotes, and I love to end with some quotes, you know, that sort of like might help us to even better appreciate what we have here. And one that says find something that you are passionate about and keep tremendously interested in it. And I think that you and I will agree that Engineer Zazie has found something she's passionate about, and she has been at it, and she has inspired us with so many ideas and so many perspectives today. So I want to say, be someone's strength, be someone's inspiration, be someone's reason to never give up. So I hope that Engineer Zazie has made you to think that way as well. So thank you so much for being with us and honoring this invitation, Engineer Zazie. I look forward to engaging with you outside this space again, because all those things you mentioned, I am coming definitely to come and see you. So thank you. And future females, this is another perspective of the career path. This is another opportunity. Think about it beyond cooking and all the other things of housekeeping. This is also facility management, a possibility for you as well. So on this note, yours truly, Ms.B, is Cachifo, is Odabo, and hasta luego, as the Spanish people will say. Thank you so much for being here. and on the life Be Inspired. Thank you so much. So, engineer, see you. I will call you on WhatsApp soon. Okay, then. Bye for
No
now.
problem. Bye.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, then.